So after making all that money online at 22 years old, this is what has changed. And last Friday, I was out bar hopping until like 1:30 in the morning. And the group that I was with was out until like 3 or 4 a.m. But I went home at 1 because I was done. And I literally never ever do that. And I'm 22. Most people my age, that is what they do. Most people in life, that is what they do. They live for the weekend. They live for the night out with the boys, night out with the girls, night out with whatever, even up until like 50, 60 years old. And one of my favorite things to do is people watching. And so, as we were going through the night, we had a small group, and we went out to dinner, had a nice dinner, and then went around the town, got those, electric scooters, and then got the app and, scanned the thing and went riding around with the electric scooters and checking out this area in the city that, we hadn't really been to and stuff. So a city next to ours, I'm in Tampa, but it was St. Petersburg. And so we were doing that, and there's this whole like just strip of bars in St. Petersburg, just the whole thing. It's crazy. And so, obviously as the night went on, we met up with other groups and stuff like that. And our friend who's down in St. Petersburg, his cousin has a ton of their like frat guys and sorority girls, right? So we were with that, and I didn't go to college. And so we were hanging out with them and out, bar hopping and whatever with them. And so I say all that because one of my favorite things to do is people watching, right? And so even then, that whole time, like I'm always just people watching, and it's so interesting to me, right? And so you can see based on how these people act and how they carry themselves that like this is what they live for. They live for the weekend. They live for Friday night. They live for, like I said, going out with the girls, going out with the guys. That's all they have. And that's honestly really sad. And so after making all this money online at 22 years old, the one thing that has really changed, like, sure, I can spend money on stuff and have a nice apartment and live a quarter mile from the beach, and the next place I'm looking to get is going to be actually waterfront. Like I'll be able to see the water from my windows and stuff like that, but I'm like a quarter mile away right now. Sure, that's nice. But the one thing that's really changed for me is my perspective. And I've always found it interesting to people watch and to see what people do and how they act and why they act. Like all these books behind me here, like half of them are human psychology books. It's just so interesting to me. And so the really crazy part to me is just that when you make all this money online, you have people that don't believe you. You have people that are jealous. You have people that are like, the very few amount of people are like, help me, teach me, show me how to do this. That's the select few, right? But most people are just oblivious, or they think everything online is a scam just because it's not, quote unquote normalized, because it's normal to go to college and get in $200,000 in debt and go get a job and make 50K a year. Like that's insanity to me. Like I'm 22. Most of my friends that I, grew up and went to high school with and stuff are like just getting out of college now, or they're working on their masters and they still have 2-3 years left. That's crazy. That's crazy. And they're starting out with negative. They're starting out with negative in life. They're starting out with debt, right? So I started out at 18 at zero, and then I have now 4 going on 5 years of online business experience under my belt and hundreds of thousands of dollars made online. And at 22, and they are here now at 22 with negative hundreds of thousands of dollars potentially and zero experience. Sure, they have classroom experience and they do have connections, which is a good thing, I think, for college. And, if you're going to be a doctor, a lawyer, or something like that, a nurse, like I get it for the college. I get that. But for general people who are going there, I had a lot of friends who got business degrees, finance degrees, marketing degrees, and they're like, dude, I don't know what to do with this. I'm applying for jobs, blah, blah, blah. And so if you're watching this, you're in like online business space, make money online, whatever, you're probably pretty aware of this already. But if you really look at it that way, right, that changes your perspective on a lot of things, is that the starting out at negative versus starting out at zero plus experience. And then also, when you get to, and I'm not trying to lift myself up in a position or anything like that, but when you get up to like where I am, where you're a couple years of experience in, you're a couple $100,000 online that you've made in, you've got a little bit of momentum, you really start looking at people differently. And so, like I said, there are those few people who, are like, yo, how can I learn? Help me, like, show me what to do, that kind of a thing. But the majority of people who think it's a scam, or who don't think it's real, or who just are oblivious to it, just sheep, right? I have a tank top I wear in the gym. It says "Raise lions, not sheep," right? So the majority of people, the sheep, you just look at them differently. And it doesn't mean that you don't love them as people. It doesn't mean that you're not gonna, care for them and have compassion for them, but you're just kind of done, right? It's just like kings don't talk to peasants. And that sounds like a really dick thing to say, but it's just like, if the energy that you're gonna give me is what you're doing isn't real, it's a scam, nobody could ever do that, it's not actually how the world works. Why do I want to associate myself with people like you, right? If that's how your attitude is. And so then I'm going to push those people away. I'm going to kind of look down upon those people because of the bad attitude and mindset that they have, and I don't want to get dragged down there with them. And I don't look down at them in a demeaning way or a mean way, or, like I said, I still want the best for them, but if they're not going to help themselves, then why should I care? Right? And so I think you see these people where, and like I said, I'm nowhere near this at all, but you see these people where they start to have this massive success, and then people are like, oh, you've changed, or oh, you're different now, or, you don't care about people like you used to. No, it's just, we have different priorities. And also, like, we're not trying to get dragged down by your, negative energy. It's just how it goes. Because once we have momentum and you're trying to crush that momentum, and it's just bad, right? And so kings don't talk to peasants. There's a reason for that. It's not because they don't care about them. It's not because they don't want the best for them, because they do. But kings don't talk to peasants because it's going to drag them down to the peasant level, because they don't want to be pulled up to the kingly level. And so that's just how it goes. And so you do look at people differently when you do find success, when you do have all of these things that you thought that you wanted, or people think that they want, and chase them, and then when they get there, it doesn't actually really matter that much. When you get to that point, the one thing that really changes is just your perspective on the world. It's your perspective on life. You have different priorities, right? It's not like I need to make XYZ amount of money to just scrape by. It's, okay, what's the next goal that I'm working on? Whether it's money or life or whatever. Because your perspective has changed, and you have different problems to solve. And so you're not going to be relatable to the rest of the world. People are going to think that you're crazy or different, or, a lot of those, people that we were hanging out with, I was like, oh, how often do you guys go out? Like, how often do you do this stuff? And they're like, oh, not that much, like every other week. Like, what? I do that like twice a year. Like, you guys are crazy, right? And so it's just a difference of priorities and a perspective. And once again, I'm not looking down on them, but kings don't talk to peasants. It's kind of how it goes. There's a reason you don't fit in, right? So the one thing that's changed for me after making all this money online at a relatively young age is just my perspective, my view of the world and my view of other people, and people watching becomes a little bit more fun. And that's just how it goes. So keep going, whatever you're doing, whatever you're working on. Become a king, become a queen. Don't worry about the peasants. Don't let them bother you. Don't let them drag you down. You do what you need to do. Get it done. Don't worry about it. Do the best that you can for today and every day. And it will build and compound over time. And you will get there. And then you look down from your tower. You're like, I remember when I used to be down there. And you kind of feel bad about it sometimes. But then sometimes you're like, nah, it's what I did to earn it. I did it. I put in the reps. Other people didn't. So it's how it works. So I hope that encourages you. We'll see you on the next one.